man, we want to have a different life, right? This is not the way. You can't have success and then sacrifice yourself, your family, your health, everything, all in the process. And we said if time and money were no longer an issue, we would want to be a family that can go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want.
All right, we are here with Cease, and Cease is standing here today at the Mekong River, and we just wanted to, share with you the idea of him crossing the Mekong River with nothing to escape Laos, and now he is back. Cease, are you ready for some good questions?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So, what are you seeing right here?
This is the Mekong River, yes. And so obviously none of this stuff was here, right? Before this is all used to be fields and tall grasses, kind of like that down there to the right of us there. So this used to be a whole field going into the capital. The capital is about 10 kilometers from here. All fields that led to the banks of the Mekong. On this side is the Lao side. And then on that side, right there, as you see, that's the Thai side. So the river, this area here is about 300, 350 yards long, wide.
So, when you were escaping, is it longer than this or shorter than this?
Yeah, this is exactly it. It's because the banks of the Mekong hasn't changed. So from here to there, it's about 300 to about 350 yards wide.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, right now you're standing here today at the Mekong River. What emotion are going through you right now?
Man, I remember it was kind of like this, right? Dusk, right before nightfall, and we just arrived, a little bit darker than this, right before, and we had three gentlemen picked up me, my brother, my sister. My mom was already here waiting with another gentleman, and we were dropped off. They walked us. We crawled underneath the fields to get to the Mekong. You have to crawl a long distance to it just to get to the banks here, just to wait for nightfall. And that's all we used to wait underneath a lot of this tall grass over there. And we weren't the only
like
ones
those?
we
Those
weren't
over there?
yeah, we weren't the only ones that crossed. There were a lot of families crossing during that time. From 78 to 81 there was the three biggest years of families crossing to Thailand. And when you get to Thailand, that now you're safe, right? You can seek asylum to go to like the United States or Europe or Australia or France, things like that. And but your job was just to get across, right? So there would be water patrols patrolling these waters every single night, because obviously it's a communist country, right? They didn't want you to leave, to escape, basically. So yeah, it's just it's surreal. It's we left with nothing. We left risking our lives for freedom, which is 300 yards away. And the unfortunate part is that there were a lot of families that were crossing. My mom heard four gentlemen helped us cross. Two of the gentlemen and some other families did not make it because they were shot here. A lot of people died here. So it's but I'm back, right? Back to the country I was born and the country I had to escape from to make another country my home, which is the United States. So it's a little overwhelming, but man, this is crazy.
So, before that night, what was life like for you and your family in Laos?
Normal family. This is a third world country, not a developed country, communist country under monarchy rule, even back back then. So really no democrat, no government, right? everybody had to provide for themselves, and there's no social programs, and anything like that. Our family, my family, my mom's side of the family, pretty well known. They My grandma had a lot of land in this area, right by mainly in the city here. So they were well off. My mom wasn't, but my grandma was, right. And so my mom had to work a lot. She used often crossed the border just to work in Thailand. She would get permits, to work there and come back and do that. And then my dad at that time worked at a radio station. It was actually back then they used to listen to the radio, and he used to tell love stories at night. So he's very well known. He used to tell love stories, and girls would run home just after school, after work, just to sit and wait for his broadcast because he would tell these amazing love stories. So that's how a lot of people knew him. Um, yeah, and that's kind of what our life was like, And my mom knew that that's not the life that she wanted for us to live here. She found she wanted something better. I was 5 years old, almost six when we crossed. So it was 1979, and towards the end of '79, and we we got here almost nightfall. Wait for nightfall. We got about halfway across, about 150 yards, and then at first we hear gunshots, and then we see them, right? And so water patrols came, and our canoe flipped. My mom swimming. The Mekong River is, not right now. It's low tide. They're not releasing upstream there, so but the current's not that strong, right? Strong enough, but it flows just evenly, nicely, which is great. It's not like a big, flowing river, but we swam about halfway across to get to the other side. Once you get to the other side, at that time during those days, the Thai military would turn on the floodlights so that the Lao military would stop shooting. Otherwise, it'd be a international incident. So yeah, and we were taken probably about 30, 40 kilometers from here is a refugee camp called Napo, right across the bridge, right across here. Once you get picked up, you go to the refugee camp. That's where you go and you file your paperwork just to get waiting for approval to come to whatever country accepts you at that time.
I know you kind of mentioned like, when you get across, there's a house there that they just
Yeah.
really kind putting you in. Is it kind of like the house over there right now?
Yeah,
There's
see
like
that light? See that little light?
yeah.
So back then, people here and people there, that's how they would communicate. So
Mm.
so basically, people on the other side would essentially get paid to house you temporarily as you crossed. So one of the houses belonged to a friend of a friend. So my mom, when she crossed, one of her friends that was here in Laos said, "Will you bring my son with you? And if you do that, I already hired somebody on the other side to wait for you guys to accept you guys." And that's kind of where we crossed. We would literally see, just like that, we would see the light of the house that we're supposed to cross to, and yeah, just like that. And we literally we waited till that light was ready for us. That's when we actually would cross. And she had already paid somebody on the other side to accept us. So that's kind of how we cross. It's wild. It's like there was constant communication between the two sides. And there were some houses that there's some families that they're not risking anything because they're not breaking any laws, but they would profit from it, right? From the other side, and then obviously on this side, there's profit as well. These the gentlemen who generally would help people cross or get here would profit as well.
So what happened that made your family realize that you had to leave everything behind?
My dad, my biological dad, was a ladies' man. He again told love stories. So a lot of his name was really well known, and he's tall, he's handsome, and unfortunately in our country back then and now too, you could legally have multiple wives, right? That's just the way things are. You can legally have multiple wives. So he always wanted yeah, wives, multiple wives. So he would try to tell my mom, and in if your family is kind of like maybe from the out in the country or not really well known or well educated, sometimes the wives are, that's fine, right? But my family's not. My grandpa was a general, a police officer, right? Family was really well known here. So my mom came from, from a well known family. So she's like, no. But he tried to sweet talk her. Well, you'll be the, they call them the big wife, right? You can just sit there and they'll take care of everything, or wash the clothes, take care of the kids, all of the stuff. My mom would say no all the time. But he had a lot of relationships, because of it. And my mom just said this is not the life that she wants to live as a wife, and then decided that this is not for her, and decided that a better way to live is not here. So that's I think that was a lot of it, and she knew that there was something better for us than this.
All right, so take us back to the night. What do you remember most about getting to this river?
I remember the gentleman, coming in the motorcycles at my grandma's house. We were scared, but at the same time, we were like, it must be okay because grandma's letting them take us, right? So I remember that very, very clear. It was three gentlemen, three separate bikes. Me, my brother, my sister, separate bikes, and then coming here, right, racing, getting here. But it was kind of like the city itself was like that, right? People knew that people were crossing. There's an incident every single night, right? News of who's crossing, news of who didn't make it, news of who's planning to cross. All that stuff was alive back then, right? Because freedom's there, a better life is there, right? So just think about this uncertainty of what's on the other side. You don't even know but you just know that that's the destination you want to get to, but don't even know what the destination provides. What type of life is it? Is it really a better life? What the U.S. is like? What any of that, Australia, you're wherever you're planning on going, was like, and but it was mentioned, right? It was taught because my aunt actually was the first one to actually leave Laos to go to the U.S. She was in Minneapolis at that time, and she's the one who actually sponsored us and told us that there's a better way to live is over here, right? So that's why my mind decided that it's time, right? It's time for us to get a better life.
Awesome. I love that. And so, what was happening as you crossed the river? And what did your mother do to protect you?
Yeah, so our canoe flipped about halfway through there,
Wow.
about 150 yards, and I remember there was one thing that really really stuck to me was when you don't have much, even a pair of slippers, right? That you in the U.S. right now you can go to a dollar store and buy for $1 or $2, right? Or one of those, you know, five and below places you could buy a really nice, flip flops for under $5. My sister, when we got to the shores, as the shooting was happening, she lost her shoe, one of her shoes, and she
Wow.
wanted to go back for it,
Wow.
right? And she did. She tried to go back for it. And the other gentleman held on to her and said, no, cross, because it's not worth it, right? And just think about that. Like, she's willing to risk her life for something that would cost definitely less than $5 nowadays, for sure, back then. So I remember that very, very clear in terms of how the night that we actually crossed, and how important, like, how valuable things are when you don't have much, right? And yeah, so I got a chance to witness that for sure.
That is amazing. And what did your mother do to protect you at that moment?
She same thing. She grabbed all of us, and the crossing was the most important. Getting on that land was the most important, because once you get there, once the floodlights come on, you're safe, essentially, right? Until that happens, shooting happens, and there's a potential for death. So that was her thing, was just to get us cross, right? Just get us on that land.
Was she holding you really tight? Or
Yeah,
I
I
know
was
you're
only
the youngest.
Yeah, I was only 5 and a half, so she was carrying me and things like that, especially in the water. I was actually clinging onto her as she was pulling me. And so the other two gentlemen helped my brother and my sister across, and she was swimming. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So as a child, were you scared? Did you understand how dangerous that night really was?
It's for sure was scared, but if remembering a lot of that night, I also felt like it was necessary. What we were doing was necessary. Whatever what whatever my mom situation she put us in was necessary, right? It was full trust, no question of like why are we here? Why is she doing this to us, right? It was like there's a good reason for it,
So it's
right?
almost like faith over fear.
100%. Yeah, there's fear. Obviously, is always scared, but there's like okay, there's something here. There's something that guide my mom to take this action, to get us to in this situation. She wouldn't have put us in harm unless that was a good reason.
I love that. I love that. And when you reached Thailand, what did freedom feel like, even if you had nothing?
It was great. There was a police officer, a friend, the one that we crossed. That's where we actually ended up staying over at their house. He was a police officer, had also crossed across, and we stayed there for about a week or so until we were taken to the refugee camp, and where we had to start the process. So, but it was safe. The one thing I remember as a kid, a child back then, I felt finally safe. Right after that ordeal of crossing and what happened and the gunfire and the people getting shot and the two gentlemen that didn't make it, it felt I felt like I was not in danger anymore. You know.
Love that. Love that. How did that moment shape the way you work, thought, and build your life in America right now?
Yeah, there's two things that really I get pretty annoyed by. One is people who live in countries like America, they're born there, and they aren't as grateful for the country that they're living in. The second is immigrants, right? Immigrants who come to countries like that, whether it's legally or illegally, and and they're, as a matter of fact, they're staying there, but then they're bashing the country. I'm like, leave, right? Just go back to wherever you came from if it's so good, right? For me, I treated America as my home. That's what accepted us. That's what kept us safe. That's what provided us an opportunity to leave the life we were in, to escape the country we were born in, right? Um, to a country that didn't know us but still accepted us, right? So it really shaped my my not only just understanding of what America was or the U.S. is, but to be grateful for it. And I think that I've lived a grateful life, knowing where I came from. So I everything I'm grateful for, right? The opportunities, the job, the work, the places that we stay at, things like that, the freedom that we have in the U.S. because of where we actually came from. Made me a much more grateful person. Yeah, so for me, grateful to have that. And growing up in America, right, is we were conditioned, right? Conditioned to we want to have. So obviously, I want to have, right? That's one reason my mom taught me to have a better life, and decisions she had to make to actually leave our country to have a better life. Meaning, you have to do something in order to have a better life, right? And so I already have that as an example. And then coming from the U.S., like going to school, for example, who do you want to be when you grow up, right? And then so you choose an identity, you choose a profession, and then you go to school and get educated and get a degree so that you can be that profession, so that I could be that person, engineer, police officer, doctor, whatever. So I chose engineer, right? So I chose to go work professionally. I was in corporate America for about 13 years and realized, oh my God, like in order for you to have the life that you want to have, yes, you have to do. But what if you didn't choose somebody else? You didn't choose a different identity to become. What if you were created to be a certain person already, right? And that's when I realized that being an employee was not for me. So in 2005, me and my now wife, Phyllis, she was my girlfriend at that time, decided to start our business in 2005. And we ran our business for up to about 2018, for about 13, almost 14 years. And the same habits, right? That we were taught. You got to do more, do more. If you want to have more, do more, do more, do more. I realized that that's really not the way as well. So we worked very, very hard to build our businesses, and it's great. It was a great learning experience. And then about 14 years in, we realized, man, we want to have a different life. right? This is not the way. You can't have success and then sacrifice yourself, your family, your health, everything all in the process. So we started shifting. Who do we want? Who do we want to be? Right? How do we want to live? If time and money were no longer an issue, how would we be living? So 2018, we asked that question. I actually joined 19 after Day with Destiny, went to Tony Robbins event. And we said, if time and money were no longer an issue, we would want to be a family that can go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want. So we decided to live a dream life first, right? Design it first, what it designed, and then really go all in on it, and then find a business to fund and fuel it, so that we're in alignment with who we want to be, right? So so we've been doing that for the last 6 years now. We've lived an amazing life, traveling all over the world, building uh, you know, at that time, two businesses that we launched, which one was our virtual assistants business, helping people delegate and automate, and then our coaching business, helping people, scale, launch and grow and scale their businesses. And that's really, being able to achieve all that, coming from where both me and my wife, the way she grew up wasn't pretty as well, wasn't easy as well, but it also made her, right? It made her strong, and what I went through made me strong as well. So that's one of the reasons why the very first like pillar for us, it's always about dream life first. It's all about dream life, and dream life has a combination of three things: your dream self, to be authentically who you are, made to be, who God created you to be. Then your dream business, uh, you know, um, a business that generates income to fund and fuel your dream life, and then ultimately your dream team, right? You should not go out alone. You should not try to do everything on your own, because we did that for the first 14 years. Even though we ran a business, we were doing everything on our own, and that's just not the way to do it. So, so we help people really build an amazing life that they worth living, life that they desire and deserve to live, and then to really step into their own personal calling, their own purpose, and then to build a business that kind of funds and fuels it, and then to leverage their team, leverage the people that work for them, leverage AI, leverage their coaches and their peer group. So that's kind of what we do now, and we love it, and that's where we're in love with what we do.
Awesome. And now you have come back to this river. What do you understand today that you couldn't understand as a child?
That struggles or failures or hardship, at that time you may not understand why you have to go through it, but there's a way in God's infinite wisdom, you have to go through it because it creates you, right? It's not designed to destroy you, especially if you go through it, right? For you to actually, turn that into your calling and to help other people, especially if you came out the other side, right? Just like I said, we left with nothing, and I'm back, right? Here with a lot more to offer to the world, with everything from my wisdom and what I know, what I love, who I am, with my resources that I have, wealth, all of that stuff. Um, and it's now time to give back. But now I understand why I had to go through it, because it's a setup for me to do what stepping to my calling.
Lovely. And one last question. If your mother could hear you standing here today, what would you want to say to her?
I would want to say thank her. I would definitely thank her. Not only do I saying it to her, I've been saying it to her. I really do. I really thank her for making that decision. At that time, she made a very tough decision. As a matter of fact, one of my brothers was sick at that time. And think about this, right? You're a mom, you have four children, and this is a brother that's older than me, decided to leave one of them behind because he was sick and he had a large heart, left them behind, and then decided to just take the three healthy kids with her, right? And when we were in the refugee camp, he ended up passing away. So think about the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice she had to make with that, with leaving her own country, sacrificing potentially risking our own life, right? Death, to cross. But I would say that, I thank her for doing that, because he really wouldn't have been able to be in a position, because opportunity, again, she put us in an environment for us to be able to live and be and do and have the things that we have now. So that's what I would really say to her, that she made a great decision. It's a tough decision, but it's the right decision. And I'm so appreciative, grateful, and I love her, and I thank her for making that decision.
So one more bonus questions. I know that Alexander and Troy is here with you. What would you wanted to tell them, after this whole experience?
I think that for my children to know that they most likely in their life they will never ever have to go through anything like that. All right, and even people before us, right? The things that they risk, even for my mom and dad to have the life that they have, right? What did their grandpa and grandpa do? What did their father and mother do, right? To the sacrifice they made to provide them even that type of a quality of life. There were, I mean, back then there were wars, right, between monarchs and all that stuff. Like there's so many people who risked their lives to create and pave the way for future generations. So, so for me, I just would, want to make sure that they just stay grateful, right? Stay grateful, especially they're going to come from, we always have this saying that we did not come from a wealthy family. A wealthy family must come from us, right? And we didn't have a lot of time with our families. Well, they're going to get a lot of our time, and I just want to make sure that they don't, that they're grateful that they have that opportunity, that they make the best of it, instead of having things easy and then also don't make anything of themselves, or to contribute more to the world and to give back and things like that. So that's pretty much all. We just want them to stay grateful, stay in their heart, to be appreciative of what those before them have actually sacrificed for them to be who they are, right? So
All right, Alexander, you were here the whole ride and listening to the whole story about dad, going through the Mekong River, almost died, get shot, right? And now living in America, providing you such a good life. Any thoughts, idea, emotion, feedback that you would like to, share with us or share with your dad?
First off, I want to say thanks for coming over here thanks for going all the way over to Thailand, then to the US, just to make sure that I live a good life. So I just want to say
make sure
thanks for
that you were
that.
created.
Yeah, make sure I was created.
And then what did you learn from that whole experience?
First off, you don't need to know what's on the other side as long as you know it's better. And even if you don't know if it's better, if you don't like the side you're on right now, you don't know. The other side might be better. Second, sometimes life is going to throw some things at you. Maybe like dad, almost lose your life along with your brothers, sisters, mom. But even if you may not understand it at the moment, just know that the reason God's putting you through that is not to break you down, but it's to build you up to a person that will become better and is ready for whatever he wants to give you. Yeah, those are the two things.
And imagine, right, if you are that little guy that is crossing the Mekong River, how would you feel at that moment?
I don't know how I would feel at the moment because, well, I'm not in that moment. But if I could say, I'd probably be like freaking out, worried about my life, worried I'm not gonna make it to the other side. But after all of that, if I was dad's age, when I look in the rearview mirror, I would see that there was a reason that this even happened, and which that reason is bigger than I may know right now, and definitely way bigger than what I knew before, what I would know before this moment.
Yeah, something that Dr. John Maxwell said one time. He says, "Tough times don't last; tough people do." And whatever you're going through right now, it's not gonna last. Just stay tough, right? One of the reasons why I think that this happened to me, it really made me tough. Have grit. I think one of the things that is really needed is grit when you want to achieve success, right? You just keep whatever you're not getting the results, just keep going, right? Just keep going, and eventually you'll get there, right? Maybe you have to change your approach a little bit, but you'll get there. But grit is so needed, and I think that's a problem. I think a lot of people, when it comes to successful life, relationship, business, people give up too early, right? They quit too early. They're not strong enough to keep going, And that would be my piece of advice for you. So this made me strong, and I carried it throughout my schooling, everything, right? Moving from house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, living in bad neighborhoods, right? Living in the hood of Minneapolis, all of that, it carried me, because it's like, what can happen to me if I already went through this at the age of 5, 6 years old, right? Nothing, right? Nothing can phase me. So I was never scared a lot of the common things, right? I still was scared as a kid of other things, but ultimately, there's not a lot of things that could phase me, when it came to dealing with issues or challenges or problems.
I love you, Daddy.
Love you, Dad. Thanks for everything.
Thanks for everything.
All of you, mommy, love you. Hello, C. Savan here. I hope you enjoyed and took a lot from this video. And if you are looking to live life on your terms, right, to be able to build a business also that allows you to live, to work, to earn from anywhere. If you're looking to delegate and automate with people, then we're inviting you to our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. And finally, if you took a lot from this video and you actually want more, please please comment your biggest takeaways from this particular video, and most importantly, subscribe. It's free to do so, so that this way you can be alerted every single time we actually drop a video for you, some more additional training. And again, our content will not let you down. Again, thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much for being here. Let's, we'll see you in the next video.